3 disturbing true stories from hotel stays. 1. The guest who never checked out. In 2017, a businessman checked into a hotel in Tokyo on a 7-day reservation. He was a quiet guest, keeping to himself, but staff noticed he didn't come down for meals or interact with anyone. When his checkout day passed and there was no response to repeated knocks or calls, the hotel staff entered his room. Inside, they discovered the man lying lifeless on the bed. Based on the state of his body, authorities estimated he had been dead for at least 3 days. The case might have been dismissed as a tragic but straightforward natural death, until the front desk reviewed their call logs. During the days he had supposedly been deceased, several calls had been made from his room to the front desk. Each call was brief, with only silence on the other end. Staff assumed the calls were accidental or caused by a phone malfunction. Yet when technicians inspected the phone and its wiring, everything was in perfect working order. Things became even stranger when security footage revealed that no one had entered or exited the room during the man's stay. Rumors began circulating among the staff that the man's spirit was still lingering. Over the following months, guests who stayed in the room reported unsettling experiences, items moving on their own, cold drafts in the middle of the night, and the phone ringing inexplicably, always with silence on the line. The hotel eventually stopped assigning the room to guests. To this day, employees still wonder if the calls are coming from the man who never checked out. 2. The hidden passage. In 2019, a young couple booked a room at a charming boutique hotel in the French Quarter of New Orleans. The hotel had an old-world charm, with vintage furniture, creaky floors, and soft flickering gaslights. Their first night was uneventful, but by the second they began noticing oddities. A cold draft would sweep across the room, even though the windows were sealed. The wife thought she heard faint rustling noises, as if someone was moving around when the room was quiet. The couple initially dismissed these events as quirks of staying in an old building, but when the wife noticed that some of their belongings, a hairbrush and a pair of sunglasses, had been misplaced, her husband suggested they investigate. That's when they discovered the wardrobe, an antique piece that seemed oddly positioned against the wall. They pulled it away and found a hidden wooden panel behind it. Prying the panel open revealed a narrow, dusty passageway. With a phone flashlight in hand, they ventured inside, only to find that the passage stretched along the length of the hotel and connected several rooms. Discarded items littered the ground: clothing, an old camera, and disturbingly, locks of hair tied with string. They called the hotel manager, who was equally horrified and immediately contacted the police. It was later revealed that the passage had been used by someone, possibly a former employee, to spy on guests over several years. The couple, too shaken to stay another night, checked out immediately. They never learned whether the voyeur was caught, but the experience left them with a permanent distrust of charming hotels. 3. The uninvited roommate. In 2015, a young woman traveled to Las Vegas for a work conference. She booked a modest hotel room and planned to spend most of her time at meetings. Her first night was uneventful, but by the second morning, she noticed something strange. Her toiletries had been moved. She thought it odd, but brushed it off as her own carelessness. That night, however, she was awakened by faint noises. They sounded like shuffling feet, but when she turned on the lights and searched the room, she found nothing. The third morning brought a more alarming discovery. Her suitcase, which she had zipped closed, was partially open, and the closet door, which she was sure she had shut, was slightly ajar. She decided to alert hotel security. After a brief inspection, they reassured her that the adjoining room door was locked, and no one could enter without a key. Still, she couldn't shake the uneasy feeling. That night, as she was preparing for bed, she heard the faint creak of a door hinge. She froze, realizing it came from the closet. Turning slowly, she saw a man emerge from the shadows holding a knife. She screamed and grabbed her phone, quickly pressing the emergency call button. The man lunged toward her, but she managed to dodge him and lock herself in the bathroom. Security arrived within minutes, restraining the intruder. Investigators later determined the man had been staying in the adjoining room and had unlocked the connecting door days earlier. He had been sneaking into her room at night, watching her as she slept. The experience left the woman deeply shaken, and she vowed never to stay in a hotel alone again.